When you're getting ready to go on a family vacation to a theme park, there are definitely some steps you can take to help you plan the best trip possible and to avoid being one of those dumb guests that I talk about in my videos. Here are 9 steps, 9 tips to help you get the most out of your vacation possible. It's that time of year again when everybody starts thinking about planning their vacations, planning the big trips they want to take, planning which theme parks to go to. Now, of course, you've seen my videos where I talk about all sorts of the dumb and silly and just crazy things that guests do. A lot of those come because people have not taken the time to plan and prepare for their trips properly. So I've got 9 steps here to help you plan out the best vacation possible and help you avoid being one of those guests that I talk about. Number 1, budget. What is going to fit your budget? The first thing you need to do is you need to set out what can fit your budget, what can you afford, and do it in such a way that you aren't having to penny pinch on the trip. You want room in your budget for all the necessary expenses, plus extra unexpected expenses, plus room to just have some fun and be able to piddle it away. You don't want to be one of those guests that tells your kids on Main Street at Disney, "No, you can't have a balloon. They're too expensive and we can't afford it." Okay, if your vacation is crashing because you can't afford a balloon, you're probably outside what you can really afford. Disney is obviously expensive. The average family saves 5 to 6 years for a Disney vacation. So if you're looking at going, well, we've only saved 2 years and it's going to be tough, put Disney off, okay? There are a lot of other places that you can vacation and have just as much fun without the stress of it. Pick a place that your family can afford and that everybody's going to enjoy. So this is the first thing. What can you afford? How much can you afford to spend? And have some extra on top of it in case you need it and to be able to have fun with. That's not going to bust your budget. That's not going to stretch your funds. Budget's number 1. Number 2, now that you know your budget, now it's time to think about where you want to go. Now that you know what you can afford, now you can start looking at things and saying, yes, that fits in the budget. No, that costs too much. And you may actually find some things that are well under your budget that makes it even more affordable for you. As I said, Disney's expensive, but there's other alternatives. There's Universal. There's Six Flags and Cedar Fair parks. There are all sorts of other places to go. Pigeon Forge with Dollywood, Branson with Silver Dollar City. Up in Idaho, you've got Silverwood, Holiday World over in Indiana. There's a lot of places out there that you can build a vacation around a park or make a park part of it. But make sure it fits in your budget. Part of your budget, you've got to include how are you going to get there? Are you driving? Or are you flying? Or are you doing something else? Transportation when you get there. Of course, if you're driving, it's no big deal. Hotels. How much are you willing and able to spend on hotels? Do you want to stay at a resort attached to wherever you're going or something else? All of that factors in, and it all helps you get an idea of what you can actually afford and have fun with. So, budget, and then looking after your budget. Okay, now that we know, let's figure out what we can do. Number 3, as part of that, what does everybody want to do? A lot of people get stuck in a certain mindset and they go to places that may not be the best fit. If you've got teenagers, thrill ride seekers, people like that, Disney may not be the best place for you. If you've got other people in the family that don't like meeting characters and stepping out into things like that, Disney, again, may not be a good fit. However, if you've got a family like mine that loves those things, Disney's a great fit. Universal may work. Universal has a little bit more thrill, more roller coasters, more things like that. You may have fun just going to a variety of places. If you go to, say, Southern California, you've got Knott's Berry Farm and Magic Mountain and Legoland and Disney. So there's a variety of parks there that you can visit. What fits the budget? What fits what people want to do? Are they going to be bored at a place like Magic Mountain that's all roller coasters and very little else? Or are they going to be bored at someplace like Disney that doesn't have very much by way of roller coaster and thrill rides? Or do they want something in between, something for everybody? So that's kind of a big deal. The other thing to think about is, what else do you want to do? Are you only interested in your theme and amusement parks? Do you want to go to some national parks? Do you want to hit some other tourist attractions, some dinner show theaters, some other ride parks, like Fun Spot down in Orlando, for example? Do you want to go see and do other things on the way? All of these help build out your vacation and help you decide what you're going to do. Is the theme park the main focus, or is it just a side thing? If you're coming to Branson, for example, and all you do is Silver Dollar City, well, you've missed all the shows, you've missed Dolly Stampede, you've missed so much more in town. There's so much to do besides just Silver Dollar City, which is amazing. I love Silver Dollar City. It should be a part of any trip to Branson, but it shouldn't be the only thing. So look around, find out what else there is to do. Look at what everybody wants to do. Maybe even sit down ahead of time and just have everybody write a list. What do you want to do this year? What would you like? What would you have fun with? If we go to a park, what do you want in the park? And that'll help you make a decision. Number 4, research. Now that you've got your budget, now that you know what you can afford, and now that you know what everybody likes, now you've hopefully started narrowing down where you want to go, and now it's time to actually research. This is the single most important thing that people don't do. And this is where you walk into a park and you go, "Where's Kitty World?" You're at Magic Kingdom. There isn't one. You're at Epcot. There isn't one. You're at Hollywood Studios. There isn't. You get the idea. You want to know what's there. Don't walk into a Disney World park and ask where Harry Potter is. Don't be that person that walks up and says, "What time is the 3 o'clock parade at today?" This is where education fills in. Parks all have websites now. Go to the website, see what rides are there, see what the show schedule is. Make sure the park is open. You don't want to be that person walking up to the park on a day it's closed and going, "Why isn't there anybody here?" "Sorry, folks, park's closed. The moose out front should have told you." Don't be that person. I've seen those people. You don't want that to be you. Because then the rest of us are going to laugh at you. I promise you. Research. Look up on the website. Find out how to order tickets online. Download the app. Almost every park has an app now. You can use the app to find out where things are, what the wait times are, what the dining locations are, what the show schedule is. Because if you're going to go to a park with shows, go see the shows. Unless nobody really wants to see the shows. That's part of step 3. Educate yourself to see what is there, what is nearby, what isn't there. Don't be that person that walks up and says, "When did they move it? The castle used to be right here. Where did they move? Why did they move it? I'm so confused." Why don't they have the train robbery going during Christmas? Do your research on the park. Look up reviews online. Reddit is great for this, especially getting tips and tricks and stuff too. Reddit is an amazing place for information. Make sure that your choice is going to be a good fit. If not, this is the time to change it. And this way you know what to help prepare for. You don't want to be that person at Disney, and I've seen this, where you've got that family of teenagers and they're all going, "I'm bored. There's nothing exciting here." Nobody's having fun on that kind of a trip. Even though it's Disney, even though they should, not everybody does. Pick something else. Number 5, transportation. I hinted at this already. It's part of your budget and your planning. How are you getting there? Are you flying? Are you driving? Do you need a rental car? Do you need a shuttle from the airport or an Uber? Are you staying on site or off site? What other options? Do you have a timeshare? Are you staying at a resort? You go in cheap budget? Transportation and where you're staying all play a huge role, especially if you're flying. How are you getting from the airport to your hotel? And then from the hotel to what other things you're going to do? Get that figured out before you leave. I have seen people at the airport when I have traveled going, "How do I get there? I thought there would be a shuttle and there's no shuttle." And don't be that person. Don't be the one that the rest of us at the airport are going, look, here's how you book an Uber. This is the taxi. Plan it ahead of time. Look it up. Do your research and plan out your transportation. Number 6, what else is around? Again, you've kind of looked at this a little bit, but what else is there? Do you want to go to historical sites? Do you want to go to the museums? Do you want to see other fun places? Now's the time, now that you've got your hotel booked and your transportation figured out, what else do you want to do, and do you need to book it ahead of time? Again, a little bit of research, a little bit of planning, get it set up, and set up a calendar. You don't have to be rigid on your calendar, but have some ideas on what to do, what days you're going to do it, and figure those kinds of things out. If you're like me, when I go on a trip, theme parks are a must, but I like to catch something else. When I went to San Antonio, hey, remember the Alamo? I did. I remembered the Alamo. We went in this. When you go out someplace, go find something outside of the park that's local and get some local culture. See some parks, some museums. There are some amazing places out there if you're willing to step out a little bit. A simple search on TripAdvisor will oftentimes show up the top 10 things in an area to do. You can even do the top 10 free things. A Google search will pull up all sorts of ideas, and you'd be surprised at some of the amazing stuff you can find around places. Don't hesitate. Go beyond theme parks. Really, it's good for you. Number 7, plan a break. If you're going 5 days or more, plan a day at least of rest, recuperation, and a bunch of nothing. If you've got kids, this is the day to have them go swim at the pool at the hotel. Take a nap in the afternoon. If you're near a beach, just go sit on the sand for a while. Exploring nearby, sleep in, have a nice dinner out maybe, but this is your day to recover, get your strength back, because otherwise you're going to need a vacation at the end of your vacation. No, I mean, you know me. I tell people, visiting theme parks, it's an adventure. It's not a time to rest. But you got to make sure you have your rest in there. When we did our Disneyland trip a few years back, I made sure that we had a day in the middle of the week that we didn't do anything. We went to In-N-Out, we did a little bit of shopping, and we just basically took the day off. And we needed it. Those poor kids, I was wearing them out. It's a vacation. You are supposed to have time to rest and recover. Now, I tell everybody, if you're doing the theme park, you need to be there at rope drop. And I know there's people, but it's a vacation. Sleep in on other days. The days you're at the parks, by the way, this is an extra. The days that you're at the parks, those first 2 hours are when your crowds are the smallest, your wait times are the least. You can do more in those 2 hours oftentimes than you can do in the 5 or 6 hours afterwards total combined. Those first 2 hours are magic. So it's the last hour or so of the day. Use those, even if you got to take a break later in the afternoon. That actually leads me to number 8. Watch my videos on tips to get the most out of your day at the park. Be there at rope drop. Be there at closing. Take a short break in between if you need it. Wear comfortable shoes. Bring in bottles to fill up with water. I've got a couple different videos with all sorts of little tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your day when you're at the park. Check them out. I'll have a couple links below for you. Number 9, plan your dining at the park within your budget. Now, if you're like me, our budget's basically counter service. We got admission, we got some souvenirs, we're going for the cheaper food. Because that's what we can afford. And a lot of people are like that, in which case you don't have to plan as much, but you still want to look at it and see what's there. If you've got extra budget, hey, maybe a dine-in table service restaurant. It's going to cost more, but back when Magic Mountain used to have Moose Burger, which was table service, we'd oftentimes plan a meal there because it gave us a great mid-afternoon break in air conditioning, resting and relaxing. That was worth it for us for the price. But not everybody can afford that. See what you can afford. If you've got special diets like my wife does, plan around the diets and see what they have that you can eat. And if they may not, bring snacks in. We usually carry snacks for my wife so she doesn't starve, depending upon which park we're going to. Think about things like that. If it's table service, you may have to make reservations. Disney, it's 3 or 6 months ahead of time. Universal, sometimes you need to have advanced reservations. Plan that out and look at it. Make sure you're ready to go with the food. And again, the app will help with that. In fact, a lot of parks now, you can even order your food ahead of time on the app. Pay for it there and then just pick it up as you go. And a lot of parks even now have all-day dining plans and stuff. Check it out. It's a good way to save some money, and it will help you know what you're going to do as far as eating goes. All things to consider. Information on those is on your park's websites. So there are 9 steps, 9 tips and tricks to plan out the best day you possibly can at a park. I know I didn't get everything there, but what would you add? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. What do you think you should do to make sure you're not one of those guests that we're going over? Let me know. I'd love to hear back from you. Thank you so much for your tips, for sharing, liking, and subscribing the video. Hey, you know there's a lot of people out there that don't think of this stuff. It should be obvious, but it's not. Share the video with them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so incredibly much to my patrons, my YouTube members for their financial support. Man, there's some stuff coming up where I'm putting all this into practice this year. And they're helping make a part of it, and they also get a bunch of behind-the-scenes information, contact, and a whole lot more. Check out the description below. You'll see more about that. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. And come on. Okay. You want room for everything expansion. I don't even know what that word was. Number 4. Now that you've figured out what you... Look, here's how you book an Uber. This is the taxi. It's my dog walking in. My dog sometimes knows more about stuff like this than some of the people I've seen. Go check out what's around. And again, a simple little thing on Travelocity. Not Travelocity. Oh. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind-the-scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.